Gold prices had a bit of a relief rally after the big move lower that touched as low as $14.50, which really brings us full circle from when we talked about when the Fed started cutting rates, when the whole China-U.S. trade deal got really heated, and the economy was kind of guessing whether or not the Fed was going to continue to cut more or less, or maybe even hike or whatever. There was a lot of what ifs out there. But since the Fed has kind of leveled off its expectations for more cuts, since the China-U.S. trade deal has become somewhat a done deal on paper, in words only, not yet on paper, we've seen risk assets take a bit of a hit. We see it in treasuries with the yields going higher. We see it in gold prices going lower. But really, once we hit $14.50, things really stalled, and now we've seen a little bit of a bid back. And yeah, there was some fundamental news today that would have driven the market higher. But I think ultimately, you've cleaned out a lot of the longs, the bad longs anyway, and now you're starting to see perhaps maybe we're going to get back to more of a normal trade, more of a buy gold as insurance, buy gold as an investment, instead of just jumping in with both feet and jumping out whenever we see that China headline go by that says they're in or they're out. So at this point, I think we got to get a fresh start. So gold prices are up. They got as low just around $14.50. Now we're hovering around $14.65. It's not going to dramatically move to $1,500 again overnight. But again, we are starting to build a bit of a base here. And that's something that gold's been very choppy trade, even on the way up and on the way down. So now may be a time to sort of find a sustainable up trade. Certainly need the data to help or not help, so to speak, when it comes to the Fed. And how aggressive they may be in the future. But right now, the Fed expectations are very low that they cut rates again this year, and that was not the case just a few weeks ago. Looking at the dollar, was the dollar helping in today's rally? Well, not really, because the dollar posted its 8th up day in the last 9 sessions, its highest in a month. And if you look at the dollar index, it looks pretty strong. So at this point, gold and the dollar are not moving historically the way they normally do. When gold is up, it's because the dollar's down, and vice versa. We're not seeing that today, but the dollar has been strong nonetheless. And gold's trade today, I think, was more off the headlines than anything else. And another reason why gold might be up, looking at positioning, speculators, though, we haven't gotten the concrete evidence yet from last Friday's big sell-off in gold. I suspect it was a lot of speculators getting out. We'll probably see that on Friday when we get the report. At this point, though, I think speculators who had unwound much of their position may be looking to get back in, but cautiously. Being long gold is always sort of, I think, in the back of every speculator's mind. They want to kind of hold on. We haven't seen the spec shorts rule the gold, so to speak, for quite a long time. And at this point, even though the Fed may not be cutting any further, certainly it doesn't look like they're going to be tightening anytime soon. And it also doesn't mean that the Fed couldn't sort of have that, whoops, we need one more cut out there. Remember, the Fed cuts when it has to, not when it wants to. So that could also be another defense. So we could see gold speculators, long gold speculators, getting back into the market, but like I said, very cautiously. So at this point, gold prices have come full circle. I'm seeing a very neutral bias to gold with a slight upside. Certainly lost all that bullish momentum we had a few weeks ago, and just recently we have very bearish momentum. That also seems to have stopped. So right now, very neutral gold pricing as we head into the rest of this week, and we wait and see, can the U.S. and China get a trade deal done? In the short term, likely have to wait until December for that. But gold prices right now looking to hover with a bit, call it a tad, of bullish momentum.